Jacob was feeling happy that Sophie had come all the way to watch his race. He didn't want the conversation to end just yet, so he asked her, "How did you manage to get out of school anyway?" "It wasn't too difficult. My friend helped me out," Sophie replied, beaming at her successful sneak out. "I faked being sick, and my friend pretended to take me to the sports teacher, who keeps all the medicines. As we were crossing the garden, I jumped over the fence and made a run for it." Jacob knew she wouldn't get into too much trouble because her teachers were aware of how influential and wealthy Sophie's family was, so they wouldn't dare to give her a hard time. "You know, I bunked school once. I had to turn in an essay which I forgot about till the last minute. So I bunked school and went to watch a movie instead. Guess who I met right outside the theater?" Jacob paused to see if she was taking interest in his story. "Who?" She was listening to him with rapt attention. "The same teacher I was trying to get away from. Apparently, he was on leave that day and went to watch the same movie with his wife. I tried to avoid a scolding that one time, but ended up being scolded in front of the whole theater and then for a whole week in class." Jacob chuckled and facepalmed himself when he recalled the humiliation he faced. Sophie burst out laughing as soon as she heard the end of Jacob's story. She laughed hysterically while holding her stomach and almost fell off her chair. Jacob couldn't help but smile and look at her. She was in her element and looked so carefree. She had looked so tense and worked up in the past that watching her laugh like that put him at ease. "I didn't know she gets dimples in her cheeks when she laughs. She looks so cute," Jacob thought to himself. Kathy's thoughts were interrupted by Sophie's laughter and the way Jacob was looking at her. It annoyed her to no end, and she frowned. "Time for the 1600-meter relay race," Kathy reminded Jacob in a sharp tone. Dozens of students on the bleachers started walking towards their specific spots. Jacob switched his attention to the sports field as he saw that Michael was already prepping for the race. The 1600-meter relay race was the highlight of the athletic games at their university, as it wasn't only a test of endurance, but also a reflection of teamwork as compared to the shorter races like the 400-meter relay race. There was a lot of excitement in the air when it was announced, and the noise made by the pumped-up audience was deafening. The cheering got even louder when Michael took the field. He purposely rolled up his sleeves to show off his solid deltoid muscles. Underneath his sports shorts were a pair of thick and strong legs that sent the girls in a tizzy. He was tall and brawny and flexing his muscles at the crowd. He looked extremely powerful. The way he showed off his body caused another wave of screams from all the girls. "That guy in golden sportswear looks handsome." Staring at the track, Sophie said to Jacob. "What do you know about good looks? There is so much more to a man than meets the eye," Jacob objected vaguely. Sophie, however, pretended she didn't hear Jacob. She stared at the track excitedly as she was admiring Michael, who was trying to act cool. Sophie fangirling his opponent made Jacob a bit jealous. He didn't know where this bitter emotion was coming from. He recalled the same feeling from last night when he was thinking about guys in Sophie's school hitting on her. He convinced himself that these feelings were coming up because Sophie was his fiancée and not because he was crushing on her. What he didn't know was that Sophie had felt the same way when she saw Kathy give the water bottle to Jacob. She just knew how to handle it better. After warming up for a few minutes, all the athletes got into position. Chants from every major supporting their representative resonated through the entire field. However, among all the cheers, the loudest and most in sync were, "Come on, Michael!" Such an amazing event like the athletic games is now becoming this guy's private show. Jacob hid his annoyance, but couldn't help but vent on the inside. Thanks to the rules of the athletic games, each athlete could participate in no more than 3 games. Otherwise, who knows how much limelight Michael would get. Jacob already didn't like him, but Sophie's sudden interest in him was turning his dislike into hatred. However, he wasn't the only person to feel that way about Michael. Most of the guys were jealous of him, as he always tried to act cool and got all the attention from girls. His father was the deputy mayor, and he himself was the president of the reputed rock climbing club. He had the looks, the money, and the build to impress women, and most of the guys didn't even come close. As soon as the starting pistol fired, 8 athletes launched themselves into the race with a burst of speed. The whole atmosphere heated up instantly. Sounds of loud cheering resonated in the field. Compared to the mechatronics engineering major, International Business Administration major didn't have a lot of male students. That was why they never did very well in sports. As the trump card of their class, Michael was placed as the 4th runner to boost their performance at the end, as he did in the 400-meter relay. After the 3rd runner finished, the distance between International Business Administration and other majors was getting longer and longer. As the relay baton was handed to Michael, he was over 20 meters behind the first-place runner from Mechatronics Engineering Department and over 10 meters behind the second-place runner from the Computer Science Department. "There is no chance of covering up now," thought Jacob, who was looking closely at the field. Covering up the distance was a long shot, or at least he hoped so. He suddenly had this deep desire to watch Michael lose in front of all his admirers, and especially Sophie and Kathy. However, Michael, who was on the outermost track, strived to catch up. His golden sportswear seemed to have created a golden whirlwind around him as he dashed ahead. He ran the 400-meter distance in a flat-out sprint as if he was doing a 100-meter dash. He ran as if he was on fire, and that only made the crowd go crazier. "This guy could just take a breath and the girls will go gaga over that," Jacob huffed in annoyance. The thought of Michael winning this race was bothering him to no end. 2 meters! 1 meter! He outran the second-place runner within seconds, covering 300 meters. There were only 100 meters left. Similar to what happened during the 400-meter relay race, he was about 5 meters behind the first-place runner. It was impossible to catch up, as he had already run at full speed for the last 300 meters. How could he still be able to sprint through the last 100 meters like it was a 100-meter dash? Jacob couldn't help but stand up and look at the track. He felt a rush in his heart. It wasn't just him. Almost all of the people on the spectator stands got up to watch the final dash. Michael surprisingly surpassed the first-place runner and reached the finish line with a 1-meter gap between him and the runner. Wow! The entire audience went crazy with cheers and screams. Is this guy a real human? How could he have such amazing speed and endurance? Jacob looked at the finish line with astonishment. He runs so fast! Sophie couldn't help but praise Michael. Numerous first- and second-year students from the International Business Administration major stood up and cheered vigorously for their senior. Proving himself a hero once again, Michael took off his golden sports t-shirt immediately and showed off his perfect muscles. Then he held the t-shirt in his hand and waved it around. He was soaking in every bit of this moment and all the attention. Michael! Michael! The name Michael echoed in the sports field and was enthusiastically yelled out by every girl and all the students from the International Business Administration Department. Jacob sat back down, grabbed a bottle of water, and had a sip. This guy has already led his major to 2 victories today. He deserves all the respect he's getting. But he's not doing this for his department. He's just doing it for his satisfaction and pride. He loves all this attention and wants everyone to cheer for him. He is so full of himself that he didn't even stop to congratulate the rest of his team and chose to hog all the credit. Jacob was brooding in silence and analyzing Michael's behavior after he got his victory. Is that who you will be competing with this afternoon? Sophie asked suddenly, and judging by the distressed look on Jacob's face, she got her answer.
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.